We're going to take a look at the weirdest couple ever.
Growing up, I never understood the hype or obsession over celebrity couples, like a power couple where fans just celebrate that they're in love or whatever and they're fainting anytime they see a picture of them holding hands. Just like a growth spurt, I just never got it. Why would you care so much about two strangers' relationship? I always wrote it off as just being part of this super fan culture that I just didn't understand.
I think it's more of a thing that women are interested in. Like, if you've ever seen like women magazines, or just the statement at the front will be a picture of look who she's shacked up with, or she cheated with this, or she's marrying him. Like, it's often that kind of case. Whereas you wouldn't have that in bloke magazines. They don't give a crap.
I
Gossip
know in the
mags,
modern
yeah.
day it's very rare for people to just casually enjoy something. If you like something, you have to fucking love it. You have to live, breathe, and sleep that thing that you like. We've seen it a lot over the years with K-pop, where K-pop stans will obsess and go wild over even the smallest things, like if their favorite singer posts a picture of them eating a hot dog online. They'll cross-reference that photo with all known database.
Yeah, but won't most K-pop people be like 12 years old or something? And 12-year-olds are all very easily impressed.
Go to a cutting-edge laboratory using the latest forensics analysis tools in order to figure out where the photo was taken, where the hot dog was purchased, so they can go there in the real world and try and fish through the trash can looking for the wrapper that they threw away so they can frame it on their wall. It's just this level of investment in
Everyone
strangers that
goes
I've
through
never
that.
really
Well,
understood.
most people do.
Until now. As a 29-year-old man, I've had my eureka, come to Jesus moment. I get it. Because I have become very
You know, he's actually starting to look a little bit like Keanu Reeves.
invested and fascinated with a celebrity relationship, Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith. It's this never ending disaster, this tragic play that keeps getting new acts added to it that I could have never predicted. It all started last year with the infamous slap where Will Smith
Yep.
slapped the devil out of Chris.
Yep. This was, I mean, if you've not heard about this, then you've managed to stay off the internet, so congratulations on that. But there was a situation where Chris Rock tells a joke about Jada Pinkett Smith, who is Will Smith's wife, or supposedly wife, because we found out that they're actually separated. And originally, Will Smith laughs at the joke if you actually see the footage. And this is at the Oscars, by the way, like a very formal place. This wasn't an act, this wasn't a scene. This was like actually real. And his wife, after hearing the joke, gives Will a specific look as she rolls her eyes. And he sort of, his brain goes, uh-oh, take it back. Right. I laughed at this joke, but no, this joke was completely unacceptable, and I'm going to smack Chris Rock for it now. It's just, this man is poorly twisted, unfortunately. I think Jada Pinkett has done some massive mental damage to Will Smith.
Rock on stage after Chris Rock made a joke about his wife Jada. And that signature anime finishing move with the slap actually pumped the brakes on his entire career. There were a lot of projects that he was involved with that dropped him, or just a lot of other projects that didn't want to touch him after this. So his whole career came to a screeching halt, all from the old five fingers to the face moment. And since then, there's been more and more information that's come out about their relationship that just makes it baffling. And
It was incredibly unprofessional of Will Smith, but this is the point, is he's so emotionally torn by Jada Pinkett Smith that he could do that in front of all of those people. And this is the stage of the Oscars where later on he'll go to win of being the best actor and then give a speech about loving people. This guy is like mentally, he's not in a healthy place.
it's so weird. Like, even prior to the slap, we had those uncomfortable moments where Jada invited Will Smith onto her show, where she just openly admitted to cheating on him and like having an entanglement with a much younger man, right to Will's face as he looks on in agony and sadness. And it spawned a lot of memes where Will Smith was, done up to look like Pain from Naruto and all of that. Because I mean, it's rough. Like, it's really rough to just watch her.
She's twisted, man. She's just playing with him. She freaking gets off on making his life a misery. You can obviously see that. And I mean, at the end of the day, he's his own person, and it's up to him to sort of step up and do something about it. So that's why he's also getting sort of you know, dropped in a lot of cases, not only just by studios, but by the audience in general, as they'll see this and they'll be like, oh, that's not the Will Smith that I know from the movies.
Giggle and laugh about cheating on Will, who seems very much still in love with her. And they always kept up this act that, they're strong together, they're still together, this and that. And now, today, Jada has revealed.
Well, it's the doff protest too much, isn't it? It's like, oh, we're perfectly fine. We're the happiest couple in the world. We couldn't be happier. And they've been like separated for 7 years. It's like, oh, I'm not gay. I hate gays. I couldn't stand to be in the same room as a gay. And then later on, you get found out for being at an orgy with like 20 other gay people. It's like, it's so obvious. These people that protest too much is they're trying so hard to not come across as the exact thing that they are. And it makes it so obvious that they are that way.
That her and Will have actually been separated since 2016. She has a book coming out pretty soon.
Allegedly, pure evil. Just that face. You remember I've told you, if you've seen any of my React videos of recent times with Johnny Somali stuff, it doesn't take much. Now, you can't necessarily judge a book by its cover because you can be wrong, but a lot of the times you can see that cover and probably be right as well. Or at least have a good indication as to what you're getting into. She looks like she loves the smell of her own farts.
And there was a little special filmed with Jada where she states that they've actually not been together in 7 years now.
Because I said, is this true?
Right.
Was that in 2016, you and Will decided that you were going to live completely separate lives.
Her hair looks like it's been sort of sprayed on, like some sort of really good artist has done some stellar job, like a paint job on a car, or, like a sidewalk, where it's just like this most impressive artwork you've ever seen. It doesn't look real.
Yes. It was not a divorce on paper,
right,
but it was a divorce.
Hey, can someone let Will Smith know that? I'm pretty sure this is the first time he's hearing it. You're telling me you guys actually split?
Oh man, what a tortured relationship. Like, this guy finds out all the information about what's happening in his life through her going on different TV shows and announcing what's happening. She's got complete control.
Up in 2016, so he just sunk his career like the Titanic over his ex-wife? But then if that's the case, why would he say, keep your wife's name out of your mouth? Right? Like, that's just not adding up. I feel like she's just...
I say that as well. Keep your wife's... It's keep my wife's name out your motherfucking mouth. But it's so easy to sort of like slip that and say, keep your wife's name. There's so many good memes about it, honestly. Watch it.
Making this shit up. For the last year, I've paid attention to this relationship, and it feels like every opportunity she has to hurt Will publicly, she pounces on with a smile on her face.
Yeah.
It's like, it's diabolical.
Evil.
Like, she
Allegedly.
reveals some very embarrassing things about their relationship publicly. She openly talks about how she preferred her previous relationship to Will, though she doesn't use that language. It makes it very clear with some of the things she's posted that she was happier before Will. At least that's the impression myself and many others get with a lot of the things that she posts about. It's just brutal. It's like being married to your biggest Twitter hater. Like someone who's just leaving the most deep-cut comments that actually hurt you on Twitter. It's like being in a relationship with them for 20 years. At least that's how it comes across. She does not seem to respect or even like Will at all. She is always running the bus over him any chance she gets.
She's like a hate watcher that has actually got actively involved with the person to the degree where they're now married and probably not sleeping with them because, let's face it, I think she went elsewhere for that. But it's bizarre. There's people that will actively hate someone and consume more content from them than someone that actually enjoys that person's content because they get off on hating that person and seeing opportunities where they can hate that person. And she totally comes across like that with Will. Like all the interviews I've seen and the way she talks, the way she behaves, it looks like she has absolutely no respect and she just detests him. But she loves being with him at the same time so she can do that because she seems to get some massive kick out of doing it. It's really cruel.
This is a bombshell. claiming that she's actually, or they've actually been split since 2016, that doesn't even make sense. Now, apparently, she's claiming that it was a private decision they reached together, but in order to keep up public appearances, because they weren't ready to reveal it, they kept pretending like they were still married. But that just doesn't track. That doesn't.
I think they've got one of those deals where they stay together for the sake of the kids, but this is definitely one of those cases where it'd be probably healthier for the kids if they were split. There's definitely a lot of couples that do that where they don't love each other anymore. There's not that spark, but for the sake of the children, they'll stay together until the children reach a certain age, and then they can move on their own separate ways. That way the kids have like two parents together.
That doesn't make sense, because if that was the case, why would
Yeah,
Will
their kids are mental, so
publicly
it obviously
slap
doesn't
the
work.
fuck out of Chris Rock and ruin his career over this if he didn't think you guys were still married? That wouldn't make sense.
So why do that? Like, what was the reason?
Well, that's an easy answer. If Will Smith and Jada were in court against each other, who do you think the public would support? They'd support Will Smith, but the newspapers would probably try to go for an angle where there'd be, what's Jada's story? How has she been abused in this relationship? Because that's general the way the media goes. We know that with the Johnny Smith, I said because of Will Smith, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard case, where Amber Heard was clearly very abusive. And I'm sure Johnny Depp probably made some mistakes as well and did some bad things in that relationship. I don't think either of them are innocent at all. But there's no doubt about it that Amber Heard was coming at it with an angle, and the newspapers were also very clear on their agenda that Amber Heard could do no wrong, even though she was dropping her foot in it the entire time during the court case. And they still didn't they like doctor pictures and stuff like that to make it look like she was more bruised than she was, and they faked a tear on her face and stuff like that. That was never there in the court case. Like, they have an agenda. That's what it is. The public are obviously going to support the person that they're well known with and they love, because people grew up with Johnny Depp in Pirates of the Caribbean and other movies that they've seen him in, Edward Scissorhands, depending on how old you are. Yep, Freddy Krueger movies as well, those ones. And Will Smith obviously has done a shitload of movies as well that I grew up with. So the only movie that I know Jada Pinkett Smith has been in is The Matrix, and she was just like a side. She was in the movie. Was it? Was she even in the first movie? I think she was in one of those kind of montage bits. So she's kind of in the movie for about like 15 seconds on one of these montage bits, and then she features more prominently in like the latest Matrix. Yeah, she's one of those cases where she's actually in the first Matrix, but she's like a montage. I don't think she even talks. She's just like a figure, a character, a picture practically.
I think just not being ready yet. Still trying to figure out between the two of us how to be in partnership, right? And in regards to how do we present that to people, you know?
Why are you trying to present it to people? Like, it's so fucking weird. It's like, oh, how are we going to be in a relationship in regards to the public? Clearly, we're not actually in a relationship because I fucking hate him. But for the sake of the public, we need to be on this register and we need to be seen as this level of power couple. Like, what the fuck? So fucking weird.
And we hadn't figured that out.
It's not quantum science we're talking about here. You just say that you're not together anymore. You would have saved both yourself and Will so much shame.
She doesn't want that,
during
though.
the entire
She feeds off him.
entanglement scandal. If you had just said,
Like a
"Hey,
leech."
we actually separated 7 years ago," there is nothing to gain by keeping up a facade that you are still married and, you know, in love together when you're not, especially when you're fucking other dudes, right? Why would you not just say, "Hey, we're not together anymore," really? Like, it's just like the easiest thing in the world. You'd have to try so much harder to not say that and just bear all of the spitballs that were being shot at you for cheating. If you weren't actually cheating, then it should have been so much easier to just be like, "Hey, whoa, guys, look, we wanted to keep things private, but, you know, now things have hit the public sector thanks to me talking about this on my talk show. And it's probably about time that we state we haven't been together for 7 years. And it would have been so much smoother for both Will and Jada. But again, I just don't believe this. I really don't. And this sounds super parasocial, but Will looks like he's perpetually going through life heartbroken, like in a trance, like this rain cloud over his head while he...
It's not like a theory, though. He is. Like, that's the thing. When you watch that Oscar clip or you see that scene where he's in that talk show with his own wife, well, I say wife, maybe she's not a wife when that was recorded now, his partner, the person that he thinks he loves, she just tears him to pieces, and you can see that's not acting. He's a fucking amazing actor, Will Smith. But you can see that is emotion. That is true emotion. That's not acting emotion. That's real emotion that's actually come to the surface, which he normally tries to keep boiled down. Do you think a big set of lies would be revealed about Will and Jada if they ended up in court? Oh, yeah. No shit. I don't think there's many truths about many of these celebrities, let's face it. And if there are truths, then the celebrities are probably people that are good, normal people that don't make a big deal out of things and haven't got that kind of hyper sort of audience around them because they just live a decent, honest life. But people aren't always interested in that. But it would certainly be interesting to see another court case like the Johnny Depp one, but with Will Smith and Jada Pinkett. Oh my gosh, that would be the next one.
He stays with Jada, and she comes up with creative new ways of embarrassing him. Just nefarious plot to constantly publicly humiliate the guy. He just stopped his career for a whole year by slapping the man that he believed disrespected his
He laid
wife.
low, didn't he?
You're telling me that he did that knowing that you two weren't actually together? I don't believe that. An act which...
Well, as far as I would assume, I think Will Smith is just like, she needs him a lot more than he needs her, but he doesn't know that. He feels like he needs her, but she gives nothing to indicate that that is the truth or the case. So he is deep sort of under her trickery, under her mind control.
By the way, she didn't appreciate, like, even when it happened, she seemed to, like, publicly condemn it, and now she's talking about it.
She hated the fact that Chris Rock made that joke. She rolls her eyes as if she's been, like, attacked so violently and viciously, and you could see she just wanted to tear Chris Rock apart with those eye rolls. And then Will Smith goes up there and says, "Okay, honey, I'll go and smack him for you." And then she's like, he shouldn't have done that. There's no way you believe that, truly. You were probably super happy when he smacked Chris Rock for that.
Again, saying that she initially thought it was a skit. I was like, there's no way that Will hit him. It wasn't until Will started to walk back to his chair that I even realized it wasn't a skit. And then she said, as soon as they were alone, she asked Will, "Are you okay?" I'm not this man's psychiatrist, but I'll just...
That is probably the biggest lie. Of all the lies that she probably tells on a frequent basis, the bit where she actually asks Will Smith, "Is he okay?" as if it's like, "Are you okay?" Like a sort of sympathetic thing. I do not believe that for a second.
Tell ya, he's not looking okay here. This really feels like a plot twist that Jada pulled out of her ass and isn't some mutually agreed upon thing. Like, I understand there's been rumors over the years that Will had some kind of affair with Margot Robbie at some point, though I don't think any of those claims have been substantiated. I think those were only ever just rumors. But Jada herself confirms an affair with somebody else.
An entanglement.
I just feel like Will and Jada aren't on the same page with that separation. But hey, then again, who knows? Celebrity couples are fucking weirdos. And this is by far the weirdest couple. And it's not even close. Like, I really wouldn't be surprised if Jada truly did just make this up because it's a really big headline and attention grabber.
Just something for her to talk about again.
Great for marketing for her upcoming book. The book's not fully out.
Yeah, that's right. She's putting a new book out. Oh, it totally is, isn't it, really? Like, whatever their relationship, whatever way you want to look at it, it's clearly like, it's over. There's not really much of a relationship there. And if that is a relationship, that's not a fucking relationship I would ever want. Or I don't think anyone would really ever want. So It's just a marketing ploy, without a shadow of a doubt. She's just nasty. She just does anything and everything she can to think about herself. She's like pure narcissism.
Out yet, so we don't know all of the, details behind everything or what all it's going to dive into. But just making a claim like this, a statement that they've actually been separated for 7 years as some kind of like big plot twist, is huge for marketing for her book. So I really feel like there's a chance she did just make that up for that reason, and Will is as surprised as everyone else reading it right now.
Yep.
So I could be wrong though. Maybe they are truly a great team. They agree that they've been separated for 7 years, and Will still just sank his career for a relationship he's not even in anymore. Who knows? I just wanted to talk about this because I just find them to be a very interesting couple that I have become invested in learning about over the last year. That's really about it. So yeah.
It's like a scientific experiment. It's fascinating, just observing this couple and what they do and how they do, why they do. It makes you think. It really gets into your mind a little bit. It's just crazy. But great video there. That's Moist Critical, Charlie, I believe. And what's this? Will has spoken for the past 7 years on his social media about being with Jada, both directly and implicitly, as he philosophizes about romance, human nature. So I think, yeah, this is just a marketing ploy for a new book. There's no coincidence, right? It's just suddenly like, oh, new book coming out. Gotta make a new sensational story, because what the fuck else is she doing? Let's face it. She just keeps feeding off of Will Smith. She stays with him so she can keep feeding off him because he's such a mega star. And this guy does not get the message. He does not know how to free himself from this situation. It's painful to watch. It's just like someone that just keeps walking into fire. It's like, at some point, surely you've got to realize that fire burns, right? That's not comfortable to be in. Why do you keep walking into the fire?